Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn, Hinderacker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderacker. Welcome to WowBiz Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. Three very hot topics. I'm going to share them with you today. Thanks for tuning in, WowBiz Nebraska. I'm Lynn Hinderacker. And settle into your seats and get ready. Hold on tight because we're going to discuss three incredible topics. You're going to understand what kind of opportunities emerge and have emerged since the last time we spoke, by the way. But first of all, I'm going to talk to you about Hy-Vee, right? This is an organization we all know and respect. They're one of the top grocery stores in the land and certainly in the eastern Nebraska area, to be sure. But I'm going to share with you before we get into the gist of what has really happened recently, and it opened a door. I can't wait to share this with you, and I'm walking through, as we speak, I'm going to walk through that door right now with you, and the future of the entire state may be impacted as a result of our conversation, our dialogue right here. But first of all, let's move back to Hy-Vee, shall we? Now listen, everybody knows that Hy-Vee is a premium priced, full service. They have a great customer service. Everybody knows that. And they're dealing with a variety of competitors, as we all know. But something interesting has happened in that world. And it's like an indirect thing that actually happens somewhere over here, but now it's impacting here. And it's creating an opportunity. So listen up. Here's the deal. You know, you may have learned about or heard recently about a drug called Mounjaro. Mounjaro is an incredible drug. It's for people, or it has been for people that have diabetes. And so the idea is that you take this drug, and it's injected, by the way. It's a very strong drug, and it kind of takes your appetite away so you can kind of maintain your weight and kind of gain control over your body, and of course, deal with this issue with diabetes that so many people do have. Now, I have somebody in my family that has utilized this product, by the way, for quite a while, and because the sidebar is that you lose a lot of weight because you lose your appetite, you don't feel like eating, and of course, as a result of that, you can lose a lot of weight steadily over time. Now, eventually that appetite issue kind of goes away and it's not quite as much of a barrier there, but for months and months, it does in fact inhibit your appetite. It's a really incredible drug. And it's impacted many, many people that struggle with diabetes. However, it's had such an impact on the population. There's been tremendous desire, shall we say, by millions of people who say, I've got an obesity problem. As a result of the obesity, I have diabetes, but the key issue here is obesity. And so I want that drug, right? And it's very, very expensive. So there are two other manufacturers, and they create a similar product. I'm not going to mention the brand names of those products right now, but similar to Mounjaro, only now those products are available if your doctor sees that you have a problem with obesity, and these particular medicines will help you kind of sublimate and minimize your appetite for some time, and you probably will drop some serious weight. So it's a dream come true for millions of people, and certainly here in the Omaha, Nebraska area, many people care about this. Now, here's the issue. If your appetite is minimized, it's not as big of a deal as it used to be because you're taking this drug on a regular basis, you don't purchase as much product, do you? You don't, when you go to the grocery store, you just don't feel like buying as much and maybe not buying the same things that you used to buy. You're eating a lot of vegetables, you're eating much healthier now, and you're not splurging or spending money on various indulgences, sweet indulgences we'll call them. But so this is a very interesting thing, right? Walmart has tried to measure the impact of reduced demand for their products, right? The grocery products. And indeed, it's measurable. They're a little concerned, right? And there are other grocery store chains, as you can imagine. Maybe they're not quite as precise in their measurement, but they know that as these drugs kind of penetrate the population, many people will be saying, I really don't need to get those sweet rolls this week, and I don't need to go for the sweet potatoes, whatever it is. And that's measurable, right? That's measurable decline in products purchased. Now, so the whole industry is going, what are we doing here? How's this going to go? How do we overcome this? How do we compensate for this issue? Hy-Vee here in town, as you might know, if you've been in any of those stores in the last couple of years or so, they have restaurants. Very nice, by the way, well-appointed and beautiful furnishings and so on, right there in their Hy-Vee restaurant. I think all of them here in the Omaha area have a restaurant, and many of the others out on the fringes of the market. But here's the deal: for whatever reason, hardly anybody goes to the restaurant, right? Hardly anybody is in there. Very few purchases. People kind of sidle up next to the restaurant. They talk to somebody, can buy maybe something out of the deli, get coffee, sit down, chat about politics with some other folks that you may see on a regular basis. But other than that, there are no big, beautiful meals, $20 each, going down very often right there in Hy-Vee. Now, this is a real problem. They've struggled with this for a long time, and I think basically they've given up. They just have given up. They don't know what to do, how to get people to go in there and push their cart over there and go ahead and purchase. And by the way, the food is excellent. So this is an interesting thing. So Hy-Vee has to figure out, because there's going to be less demand for their products as well as other grocery stores, but they have this restaurant over here, and it's sitting there massively underutilized. So what if, now you know where I'm going here. If you're in business, you know where I'm going to go. What if I buy, let's say I have a fairly big day at Hy-Vee, and I invest $100, in a lot of different foods, staples, all kinds of things, milk, butter, bacon, all that. And we check out, and somebody is there with handling the process. And they say right at the end, here it looks like here with a receipt, oh wow, you spent $105, $110. Hey, you know what? As a result of this, you invested, that's a nice big ticket. You can go over to our restaurant over there now and get 30% off any massive, any large meal that you should purchase, just a full meal. Well, that could be a terrific value add, some kind of an extra attribute. And they go over there, and somebody's there to say, hey, give me your cart, and I'll make sure it's taken care of and nothing happens, and go on in and enjoy the meal, right? Now, what's interesting to me, so the idea now is that this experience that I've tried to describe to you just now will overcome and offset the loss in profits that I just described to you a few minutes ago because of these, we'll call them diet drugs. Diet drugs. There's going to be less of a demand for certain foods in Hy-Vee and elsewhere, and Hy-Vee has a restaurant. You can go over there. Now, there will be a discount, to be sure. They won't make a full margin on your purchase at the restaurant, but you definitely will generate, they will get some of their profit back, so to speak. And they have great servers, and it's a good experience. It's a high-quality experience there in the restaurant. And one would think, and I'm going to wrap up this segment here, one would think that Hy-Vee would now spend some time and energy, maybe a small committee of people, get their IT people involved. Obviously, the software has to be programmed based upon all different kinds. But just think about the manufacturers that have high margin, unique products, and they want to get them on the shelf at Hy-Vee. And so Hy-Vee says, well, I'll tell you what, we'll put you on the shelf over here in this area or this segment of the store, but we need you to pick up all or some of the discount that we're going to give to people as they walk through. Or maybe you can pick up a portion of the meal, right? And we'll utilize your involvement to offset the cost of the meal. And of course, the meal would be sold at some kind of a discount. So those are reasonable numbers. Smart people make calculations like that all the time. And I guarantee you Hy-Vee has an opportunity now to create extra loyalty, extra value, and not be prisoners of this mega trend that I alluded to earlier. You're going to hear a lot more about these, we'll call them diet drugs, and they have an opportunity to do something about it. But we'll see if they move forward. Maybe they need a little bit of help kind of steering that project forward. So we'll see. All right, now, my name is Lynn Hinderacker. Thank you so much again for joining us here on WowBiz Nebraska. We've done over 104 shows, I believe, something like that. And we have so much to talk about. And by the way, I mean, remember, we are now, moving into a new era, right? A brand new period of time in history as artificial intelligence comes to the fore. I mean, government officials are saying, wait a minute, let's make sure that this incredible technology doesn't take over the world here, so to speak. It has such power. If you're in the marketing world, it can provide some very helpful feedback very quickly, and articles, and all kinds of cool things can happen as a result of artificial intelligence. Some people are really nervous about it. I heard a statistic the other day, and then I'll drop this and go on to what I really want to visit with you about today. But by the year 2050, all right, now we're just entering 2024. By the year 2050, the amount of cumulative intelligence that our technology sector has will increase. Get ready to hold on to your seat right now. Will increase by 1,000,000-fold. Just think how much information we have right now, how much information is coming at you, data, emails, all kinds of things, and yet we have not even begun. And so the question is it going to be smarter than us? And is that a good thing or a bad thing, right? And what about jobs? Many people are really concerned. I've heard statistics like 30% of the entire society's workers will no longer work again, about maybe 30%, because of the impact of technology. And of course, that means that companies don't have to spend as much money with salaried workers and so on. So, I mean, it's a big, big thing, and every business owner is stepping gingerly into the future. Some are bold. Let's go get it, and let's get our piece of the pie right now and not sit around and twiddle our thumbs. I think that's probably a wise approach. But there are many others that are saying, well, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure I have the right answer to all the problems that are emerging around us. So this is a pivotal moment. If you're in business right now, if you own a company, this is a pivotal moment. You may need some outside counsel. That's a different subject. Now, I want to talk to you about a book, and then we're going to get to the good stuff. I'm going to talk to you about a book that has a word, and I'm going to put the book cover up, and obviously you'll see right off the bat that the name of this particular book is Flow. Flow. Now, I want to ask you, let's just pretend we're hanging out, we're chatting, and I'm doing a little customer research, as I'm prone to do, and I'll ask somebody else, say, now I'm going to give you a word, and I want you to just tell me from the very, just bam, spontaneously, what comes to mind, all right? What comes to mind? And so let's say you say, okay, go ahead. And I'll lean forward and say, flow, flow. What comes to mind when I say that word? Well, most of you are going to say, well, I think water, water would be the first thing that would come to mind. Flow, it's got to be water. Right. Well, so it's very interesting that you say that because, as you probably know, there are a lot of companies that are in the water business, right? Pure water, and they set up the bottles and the dispensers, and it's a solid business. It's been around for many, many years. And there are many people that prefer water that is taken from a vendor like that, a commercial vendor, and they're in many businesses, right, in the hall or near the coffee shop or whatever. And so it's an interesting thing that it's associated with water, and yet it's also associated with something else. Now, it reminds me a little bit of back in the day. A guy named Bill Russell was a tremendous basketball player with the Boston Celtics. I think he was the center at that time. And somebody asked him, they said, Bill, what's it like, when you're out there on the court and you guys are really doing great and you're in the middle of the action and the ball's flying around and so on. What's it like? What's it like, Bill? And he says, it's a beautiful moment. I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. I don't question myself. I'm not really thinking about anything. I'm just moving with the game. And I know when somebody flips that ball up, I'm going to be right there, and I'm going to grab that ball and I'm going to slam it through the hoop. And so he described it as saying, I'm in the zone, right? Now, many people, if they knew something about this concept called flow, it's a psychological system for what we would call optimal performance and optimal happiness. That's what flow is all about. I'm not going to belabor this point. The author was a genius. He was a professor in Chicago and then in Stanford and so on and so forth. He's the kind of guy that would call up famous people all around the world, fly over wherever they were and interview them and talk to them about when they were happy, when they were sad, what was going on in their minds at the time. And again, this word flow kept coming up. People say, I'm in the flow. I'm moving forward without really thinking about it. I'm doing what I'm on this planet to do. Just think about that for a minute. What a profound thing, So many of us wonder if we are doing what we're here to do, why we are here right now. And so this is a fascinating thing. Now, the whole bit about the water, if somebody said, hey, how can we make some money here? How can we get something going, I want to make something happen, right? And there's all these businesses out there right now, 70% of them, 70% of the employees, we were just on Meet the Press the other day, 70% of all employees are depressed. Think about this, are depressed. Some of them are extremely depressed, can't get out of bed. That's how depressed they are. When they don't show up at work, that's what's going on, possibly, right? So if somebody could say, if you hired me or us or somebody to come in and talk about this system for happiness, optimal performance, enjoying your work, and not overthinking it, have you ever been just so involved in your work that you just, you're just doing it and you're really into it, and somebody says, hey, let's go have lunch, and I'm too busy, I'm really I'm engaged in my work here, I'm really enjoying myself, They're in the zone, they are in the flow, right? So you could do a presentation about happiness and about optimal performance and productivity and all that. But it could also be, because of the word flow, right? It could also be a great, kind of a sponsorship brought to you by John Doe's Water. We'd like you to purchase the water system brought to you by John Doe. Here's ABC Water, et cetera, et cetera. It'd be a great concept to tie in with the water and also tie in, of course, with that state of mind. Now, thanks for watching right here on WowBiz Nebraska. We've gone on and on and on. We have something to visit with you about, very important if you're a business owner. You want to tune in right away, and we'll keep this as short as possible. But this is a substantive thing. A lot of people go, hey, it's 2024. What are we going to do that's special, that's unique, something we can help us with? Here's the deal. A lot of companies have never conducted research. They've never hired anybody to go out and talk to their customers, maybe past customers, by the way, and ask a lot of interesting, pressing, open-ended questions. This is something that Nebraska, consulting firm here in the Omaha area, does with a fair amount of efficacy, shall we say, and experience. We've done maybe over 30, I think, customer interviews. Takes a while to do it, get them all set up. You have to pay people to sit quietly and visit with you and dive into this topic. What do you think about this company? What do you think about that company? And you're taking notes, writing a report. You come back and people go, wow, I didn't know. I had no idea. That's that's very insightful. Yes, it really is. If you own a company or exert influence in a company here in the Omaha area, I urge you to get your team together quickly and say, let's get some research, huh? We're going to go into a very interesting time. Maybe we should know who we are, what people really, really think about us, and what they think about our competitors. And maybe we can take advantage of that and move forward with greater degree of confidence and maybe some great ideas, new products, new services, and so on. Yes, that would be customer interviews. It's a service brought to you by Nebraska, NEWBRASKA.com. Consider contacting Nebraska and chatting a little bit with them about some customer interviews and some insightful research that will carry you forward for years. Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much right here for hanging with us with WowBiz Nebraska. I got to tell you, here's the deal I'm so excited to visit with you about. And it's kind of a headline deal. I don't really have time to get into it in great depth, but I will tell you this. The state of Nebraska back in 2002 had a problem with brain drain. At that point, we were losing here in our state about 1,000 college graduates every year. And they were going all over the country for one reason or another, but they were definitely leaving the state of Nebraska. Now, tracking that process year after year after year after year, just a few years ago it was 2,500, then it was 3,500 college graduates, people with bachelor's degree here in the state of Nebraska, and they're leaving the state. Then it got up to be 4,000, now it's 4,500. Now, the Nebraska Examiner, some of you know about that publication, came out about 2 weeks prior to this taping that we're doing right now. And the headline was something to the effect of brain drain continues strong. The state is losing a lot of educated people, and it's a serious and chronic issue. That was 2 weeks ago with the Nebraska Examiner. Now, only 2 or 3 days ago from this particular taping, Henry Cordes, a well-respected journalist at the Omaha World-Herald, did a story, front page, headline, brain drain comes on, even stronger, even worse. The problem is chronic. Nobody has a good idea. There's quotes, and they say, oh, we got to figure this out. We don't know what's going on. We have some ideas about why they are leaving. Could be money. It could be something else. And I'm here to tell you, this is a topic that I have examined and studied for over 20 years. And I actually conducted some focus group research in 2019 in Lincoln and learned a great deal about why young people, 25, 30, 35 years of age, professionals, smart young kids, eager to do great work, right? Why they were leaving, why they were so insistent upon leaving. And here was, and I've talked about this on this show before, but I'll mention it very briefly. They said, Lynn, number one, we want to be associated with a company that is innovative, doing fresh new things, new strategies, new projects, new ideas, new ways to lead people, and so on. And so that's a big deal. Now, the other thing they said is that, the managers of businesses here in the state of Nebraska have an orientation, kind of a command and control. You've heard that phrase before. It comes out of the military and the industrial sector way back in the 40s and in the 50s. We all know that, command and control. They said, we don't go for that, right? We believe in sharing ideas and collaborating and working together and new concepts and so on. We're not really responsive to command and control management. Oh boy. Now, there's an additional piece. They said, business is big and it's very important, money and family and all that, but we like to basically live someplace where it's attractive and fun and hip and contemporary. And, most of the downtowns that we see in Nebraska, not so much, Lincoln's pretty good, Omaha's pretty good to be sure, but just about the rest of the state is struggling with what's the viability of downtown, dense areas. How do you rehab them? How do you design them? How do you make it cool that they want to live there, not just work at the office a couple miles away, but downtown in Nebraska is a big issue in Nebraska City, Fairbury, Beatrice, all over the state. very unclear as to what the purpose of downtown is these days, and I'm filling it in right now. So I'm just letting you know. And then finally, of course, we have an issue with succession. So many boomers in their 60s and 70s, perhaps, they'd like to sell their business, having maybe a little bit of money coming at them after the business is sold, but they've got to find somebody that they can trust. They've got to vet that person and get to know them and find out if their employees would feel comfortable following somebody like that. So those are 4 qualities right there that are barely being discussed, if at all, as the officials across the state think about this issue. What do we do about brain drain? We can't let this all. Obviously, this is going to result in a tax problem, tax reform problem. That is not a good thing. All right, I'm Lynn Hinderacker with Nebraska right here. Thanks so much for watching. We had a great show. I appreciate you sticking with us. This is WowBiz Nebraska. And again, I'm Lynn Hinderacker. Check us out on the web, NEWBRASKA.com. We'll see you next time on WowBiz Nebraska. Thank you.